The life of a premium olive oil begins not in a factory, but in a sun-drenched grove. Here, under the watchful eyes of the growers, the olives slowly ripen. The timing of the harvest is absolutely critical. It is a decision that defines the final character of the oil. If the olives are picked too early, when they are still a vibrant green, the oil will be pungent, grassy and peppery, with high levels of healthy polyphenols but a lower yield. If they are left on the tree longer, until they turn a deep purple or black, the oil will be milder, more buttery, and the yield will be much greater. For premium extra virgin olive oil, producers often seek a balance, harvesting when the olives are just beginning to change color, a stage known as inveatura. This moment captures the best of both worlds, robust flavor and healthy compounds. Harvesting for premium oil is a delicate operation. It is a world away from the industrial shaking that can bruise the fruit. Instead, skilled workers often use handheld rakes or pneumatic combs that gently vibrate the branches. The olives then fall onto large nets spread carefully on the ground below. This method prevents the olives from touching the soil and protects them from being bruised or damaged. A bruised olive begins to oxidize almost immediately, a process that creates defects in the oil and increases its acidity. Every moment counts. The growers work with a sense of urgency, knowing that the quality of their oil starts to diminish the second the olive is separated from its branch. The goal is to get the fruit from the tree to the mill as quickly as humanly possible, ideally within just a few hours. The scene in the grove during the harvest is one of focused activity and tradition. Generations of families might work together, their movements practiced and efficient. The air is filled with the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft thud of olives landing on the nets. The crates used to collect the olives are shallow and well ventilated. This design is intentional. It prevents the olives at the bottom from being crushed under the weight of those on top. Stacking olives too deeply would create heat, which encourages fermentation and spoilage. Every step is a careful calculation to preserve the pristine quality of the fruit. It is this meticulous attention to detail, this respect for the olive, that sets the stage for a truly exceptional oil. Once the nets are full, the olives are carefully gathered and poured into these special crates. The leaves and small twigs that fell with the fruit are mostly removed right there in the field. This initial rough cleaning is the first of many steps to ensure purity. The filled crates are not left to sit in the sun. They are quickly loaded onto a vehicle for the short but crucial journey to the olive mill, known in Italy as the frantuaio. The clock is ticking loudly now. The farmers know that their hard work in the grove will all be for naught if the next steps are not performed with the same speed and precision. The transformation from fruit to liquid gold is a race against time, and the first leg of the race has just been won. The journey from the olive grove to the mill is perhaps the shortest part of the olive's life, but it is one of the most important. The freshly harvested olives are incredibly delicate. They are not like hard apples or oranges that can withstand a bit of rough handling. Think of them more like soft berries, susceptible to bruising, heat and pressure. Therefore, the transportation must be swift and gentle. The olives are carried in the same shallow, ventilated crates they were collected in. These crates are stacked carefully on a truck or trailer, ensuring that air can continue to circulate around the fruit, keeping it cool and preventing the onset of fermentation, which is the enemy of high-quality oil. The distance to the mill is also a key factor. The best olive oil producers build their mills right in the heart of their groves, or just a few minutes' drive away. This proximity is not for convenience, it is a fundamental requirement for quality. The goal is to process the olives within 4 to 6 hours of being picked from the tree. This rapid turnaround minimizes oxidation and preserves the fresh, fruity aromas and high polyphenol content that characterize a superlative extra virgin olive oil. Leaving the olives to sit in sacks or crates for a day or more, as is common in lower quality production, is a recipe for disaster. It leads to defects like a fusty or musty taste, which are telltale signs of fermented or poorly stored fruit. Upon arrival at the mill, the olives are not simply dumped into a pile. They are carefully unloaded and immediately prepared for the next stage. A quality-conscious miller will inspect the delivery, making sure the fruit looks healthy and fresh. The crates are weighed, and a sample might be taken to analyze the health and ripeness of the olives. This initial inspection is a form of quality control. The miller and the grower are partners in this process, and both share the same goal, to honor the fruit and extract the very best oil it holds within. The hum of the machinery in the mill is a signal that the transformation is about to begin in earnest. It is important to understand that every delay, every bump, every degree of extra heat can subtract from the final quality of the oil. This is why you will never see premium olives transported in large deep bins or burlap sacks. Such containers would crush the fruit at the bottom, trapping heat and moisture, creating the perfect environment for mold and anaerobic fermentation. The use of proper crates and the speed of transport are non-negotiable elements in the premium olive oil equation. The gentle journey from the grove ensures that the olives arrive at the mill's doorstep in the same perfect condition as when they were hanging on the branch, ready to begin their transformation. Before the olives can be crushed, they must be perfectly clean. The first step inside the mill is a process of separation and washing. The crates of olives are gently tipped onto a conveyor belt that leads to a deleafing machine. This machine uses a powerful fan to create a strong current of air. As the olives move along the belt, this air blows away any remaining leaves, twigs, and other light debris that were collected during the harvest. Removing this plant matter is crucial. If leaves and twigs were crushed along with the olives, they would impart a bitter, woody taste to the oil, masking the delicate fruit flavors that the producer has worked so hard to achieve. Purity is the goal, and it starts here. After the air bath, the olives move on to the washing station. Here, they are gently tumbled in clean cold water. This is not a harsh scrubbing. It is more like a refreshing rinse. The purpose is to remove any dust, soil, or other surface impurities that might have clung to the fruit. The water used for this process is constantly refreshed to ensure it remains clean. Some modern mills even use a system that combines bubbling air with the water for an even gentler and more effective wash. The entire washing process is very quick, lasting only a minute or two, to prevent the olives from absorbing any water, which could dilute the final oil. Once washed, the olives pass over a sorting table or a vibrating grid. This is another critical quality control step. Here, any remaining unsuitable olives are removed by hand or by automated optical sorters. This includes olives that are bruised, overripe, or show signs of damage from pests. Only the best of the best are allowed to continue on the journey. This meticulous sorting is one of the hallmarks of a premium producer. In mass-market oil production, everything often goes into the crusher together, which is why those oils can lack the clean, vibrant taste of their top-tier counterparts. A premium oil is a result of selecting only the healthiest fruit. The clean sorted olives are now ready for the most dramatic part of their transformation. They have been harvested with care, transported with speed, and cleaned with precision. Each of these initial steps is designed to protect the integrity of the fruit. By removing leaves, washing away dirt, and sorting out imperfect olives, the miller ensures that only the pure essence of the olive will make it into the final product. This clean start is the foundation upon which the entire character of the oil is built. The pristine fruit, glistening and perfect, is now conveyed to the crusher, poised to release its precious liquid. The moment of transformation arrives at the crusher. This is where the whole, clean olives are turned into a thick, uniform paste. In modern mills, this is most often done using a mechanical hammer mill. This device consists of a high-speed rotating metal chamber with small hammers that swing out and strike the olives, crushing them against a screen. This process is incredibly fast and efficient. It pulverizes everything: the skin, the pulp, and the pit. Crushing the pit might seem strange, but it is actually beneficial. The pit fragments help to tear the plant cells of the pulp, which aids in releasing the tiny droplets of oil trapped inside. The pit also contains natural antioxidants that contribute to the oil's stability and shelf life. The temperature during crushing is carefully monitored and controlled. The process naturally generates some heat from friction, but it must not be allowed to get too warm. Premium extra virgin olive oil is always labeled as cold pressed, or more accurately today, cold extracted. This means the temperature of the olive paste is kept below 27 degrees Celsius, or about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, throughout the entire process. Excessive heat would speed up oxidation, destroying the delicate aromas, flavors, and valuable polyphenol compounds. The hammer mill is often equipped with a cooling jacket to ensure the temperature stays within this vital limit, preserving the fresh, raw quality of the oil. While the hammer mill is the modern standard for its speed and control, some traditional producers still use stone mills. These consist of two massive granite wheels that slowly rotate in a large basin, grinding the olives into a paste. This method is visually romantic and connects to centuries of tradition. However, it is a much slower process and exposes the paste to more oxygen for a longer period, which can increase oxidation. While beautiful to watch, most high-end producers have moved to the sealed stainless steel hammer mill for the greater control it offers over temperature and hygiene, resulting in a cleaner, more consistent, and often higher quality oil. The result of the crushing stage is a thick, fragrant, and often colorful olive paste. It looks a bit like a coarse tapenade. The color can range from bright green to deep purple, depending on the ripeness and variety of the olives. The aroma that fills the mill at this stage is intoxicating, an intense burst of cut grass, green tomatoes, and fresh almonds. This paste contains all the components of the olive: the oil, the water, and the solid matter, including skin, pulp, and pit fragments. The oil is there, but it is still locked away in a complex mixture. The next step in the journey will be to gently coax that oil out. After the olives are crushed into a dense paste, the journey continues to a crucial yet gentle stage called malaxation. The olive paste is pumped from the crusher into a large, horizontal stainless steel trough with a slowly rotating auger or paddles. This process involves slowly and continuously stirring the paste for a specific period, typically between 20 and 40 minutes. The term malaxation comes from the Greek word, which means to soften. The goal here is not to mix ingredients, but to encourage the tiny droplets of oil that were released during crushing to bump into each other and combine, forming larger and larger drops. This makes the oil easier to separate from the solids and water in the next stage. The conditions during malaxation are just as critical as during crushing. The troughs are sealed to minimize contact with oxygen, which, as we know, is an enemy of freshness. More importantly, the temperature is once again precisely controlled. A cooling or heating jacket surrounds the trough, keeping the paste within the strict cold extraction limit of 27 degrees Celsius, or about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. A skilled miller will adjust the duration of the malaxation based on the specific olive variety, its ripeness, and even the weather on the day of harvest. For example, paste from greener, less ripe olives might require a slightly longer malaxation time to allow the oil droplets to coalesce effectively. This stage is a delicate balancing act. If the paste is not stirred long enough, much of the oil will remain trapped, resulting in a very low yield. The producer would be leaving precious liquid gold behind in the pomace. On the other hand, if the paste is stirred for too long, it will be overexposed to air. Even in a sealed tank, some oxygen is present, and heat, which will degrade the quality of the oil. This over-processing can destroy the subtle aromas and flavors and reduce the healthy polyphenol count. The miller's experience and intuition are paramount here, making adjustments to achieve the perfect balance between maximizing the yield and preserving the highest possible quality. Once the miller determines that the malaxation is complete, the olive paste is ready for the final separation. The once tiny oil droplets have now formed larger pools within the paste, making them ready for extraction. The paste, now slightly warmed but still well within the cold extraction threshold, has a consistency similar to thick oatmeal. Its aroma has evolved, becoming even more complex and pronounced. The slow, patient stirring has prepared the way for the decanter, where the oil will finally be parted from the other components of the olive. This quiet, controlled dance inside the malaxer is the hidden secret to unlocking the full potential of the fruit. With the olive paste perfectly prepared, it's time for the great separation. The paste is pumped from the malaxer into a machine called a decanter centrifuge. This is, the modern equivalent of the traditional press, but so much more efficient, hygienic, and gentle on the oil. The decanter itself is a horizontal, cone-shaped drum that spins at an incredibly high speed, usually well over 3,000 revolutions per minute. This rapid spinning creates immense centrifugal force, which is really the key to separating all the different components of the paste based on their weight. It's kind of like a supercharged version of a salad spinner, but for olive paste. Inside the spinning decanter, the magic truly happens. The centrifugal force pushes the heaviest components to the outside wall of the drum. These are the solid parts of the olive, the fragments of pit, skin, and pulp, which are collectively known as pomace. The water, being lighter than the solids, forms a layer just inside the pomace, and the oil, being the lightest component of all, naturally settles in the very center of the spinning drum. An internal auger, spinning at a slightly different speed, continuously scrapes the solid pomace out of one end of the decanter, while the water is discharged through another outlet. From a spout at the other end of the decanter, a vibrant, cloudy greenish-gold liquid emerges. This is the freshly extracted olive oil. It's honestly a moment of triumph in the mill. The oil flows into a collection tank, and its intense fruity fragrance just fills the air. This oil isn't yet the clear, polished product you see in a bottle. It's cloudy with tiny particles of olive fruit and contains a small amount of residual water. This unfiltered raw oil is known as or new oil in Italy. Some people absolutely love to taste the oil at this stage, dipping a piece of bread into the intensely flavorful peppery liquid straight from the centrifuge. The decanter centrifuge represents a huge leap forward in olive oil production. Traditional screw or hydraulic presses, which used woven mats to squeeze the oil out, were difficult to clean and exposed the oil to a lot of oxygen. The modern decanter, though, is a closed system, made of easy-to-clean stainless steel, which protects the oil from contamination and oxidation. This method allows for the continuous processing of olives, ensuring that the fruit that arrived just hours ago is now transformed into oil without any delay. The decanter's dance of forces is a technological marvel that allows producers to capture the pure, unadulterated soul of the olive. The journey of the premium olive oil isn't over once it leaves the decanter. The cloudy, freshly made oil now needs a period of rest and refinement. The first step for most high-quality producers is filtration. While some consumers really enjoy the rustic appeal of cloudy, unfiltered oil, most experts agree that filtering is essential for the oil's stability and shelf life. The tiny solid particles of olive fruit that make the oil cloudy will eventually settle at the bottom of the tank or bottle, forming sediment. This sediment can begin to ferment over time, creating off flavors and degrading the quality of the oil above it. To prevent this, the oil is gently pumped through a series of filters. The most common method uses thick sheets of cotton cellulose wadding. The oil passes through these plates, which trap the microscopic solid particles and any remaining droplets of water, but without stripping the oil of its precious flavors, colors, or polyphenols. It's really a gentle polishing process. The resulting oil is brilliantly clear and stable. This step ensures that the oil you buy in a bottle will taste just as fresh several months later as it did the day it was made. Filtering is a mark of a producer who truly cares about the longevity and quality of their product. After filtration, the oil needs a place to rest and mature before bottling. It's transferred to large storage tanks made of stainless steel. This material is just perfect because it is inert, meaning it won't react with the oil or impart any metallic flavors. It's also easy to clean and completely blocks out light and air. The tanks are kept in a temperature-controlled room, usually held at a cool and constant 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This cool temperature further slows any potential oxidation, acting almost like a cellar for wine. Some producers even top off the tanks with an inert gas, like nitrogen or argon, to displace the oxygen in the headspace of the tank, providing an extra layer of protection. During this storage period, which can last from a few weeks to a few months, the oil is allowed to settle and harmonize. The flavors, which can be very intense and aggressive just after milling, will soften and become more integrated and balanced. The producer will taste the oil periodically from the different tanks, much like a winemaker tastes wine from different barrels. They might decide to bottle the oil from a single tank as a special monocultivar oil, or they might create a blend from several tanks to achieve a specific, consistent flavor profile for their brand. This quiet rest in the dark, cool tanks is really the final step in developing the oil's character before it is ready to be presented to the world. The final stage in the olive oil's journey within the factory is the bottling and labeling. After resting and maturing in the stainless steel tanks, the clear, beautiful oil is ready to be put into its final container. This is not just a matter of pouring it into any old bottle. The choice of packaging is another crucial decision that affects the quality and longevity of the oil. The best containers for premium olive oil are made of dark glass, either green or brown, or tin-plated steel cans. These materials are chosen for one primary reason. They protect the oil from its greatest enemy after oxygen and heat: light. Exposure to light, especially UV light, can rapidly degrade an oil, causing it to become rancid. Clear glass bottles, while they may show off the oil's beautiful color, are really a poor choice for preserving its quality. The bottling process itself is carried out with meticulous care in a sterile environment. Modern bottling lines are automated to ensure hygiene and precision. The bottles are first cleaned and dried, then filled with the exact amount of oil. A machine then applies the cap, often a screw cap with a tamper-evident seal, to ensure the bottle is airtight and hasn't been opened. Some high-end producers will even flush the bottle with a small amount of inert gas like nitrogen just before capping. This pushes out the oxygen in the small headspace between the oil and the cap, providing one last layer of protection against oxidation and ensuring the oil stays fresh for as long as possible. Once the bottle is filled and sealed, it moves to the labeling station. The label is more than just a brand name, it's the oil's passport, telling the consumer everything they need to know about its identity and quality. For a premium extra virgin olive oil, the label must contain specific information by law. This includes the country of origin, a nutritional panel and the volume. But quality producers go much further. They'll proudly state the harvest date, which is the most important indicator of freshness. They might also list the specific olive varieties or cultivars used, and perhaps even tasting notes to guide the consumer. The bottle is now complete, filled, sealed and labeled. It represents the culmination of a year's work in the grove and a day's intense, careful work in the mill. From the hand-picked olive to the glistening liquid in the dark glass bottle, every step was taken with the goal of preserving the fruit's natural perfection. The bottles are then packed into cases, ready for distribution to fine food shops and kitchens all around the world. When a consumer picks up that bottle, they're holding not just a cooking ingredient, but the result of a journey rooted in tradition, guided by science and driven by a passion for quality. One of the most interesting facts about premium olive oil is what the term extra virgin truly signifies. It's not just a marketing phrase, it's actually a legally defined grade of quality that's verified through two distinct types of analysis. First, the oil must undergo a chemical analysis in a laboratory. This test measures several key parameters. One of the most important is the free fatty acidity, or FFA. For an oil to be graded as extra virgin, its acidity must be very low, less than 0.8%. Premium oils are often much lower, typically below 0.3%. The lab also tests for peroxide values, which indicate the extent of oxidation, and other markers that can detect defects or adulteration. However, passing the chemical test is only half the battle. To earn the extra virgin title, the oil must also pass a sensory analysis, which is a formal blind tasting by a certified panel of experts. This is where the human element is absolutely indispensable. The trained tasters sip the oil and evaluate it for both its positive attributes, known as, or fruitiness, and any potential defects. There are many possible defects, with names like fusty, musty, rancid or winey, each corresponding to a specific error in harvesting or processing. To be classified as extra virgin, an oil must have zero defects and must exhibit some level of fruitiness. This dual system of chemical and sensory testing is what makes the world of authentic olive oil so rigorous. An oil can have perfect chemistry, with very low acidity, but if the tasting panel detects even a slight defect, a hint of mustiness from moldy olives for example, it cannot be legally sold as extra virgin. It gets demoted to a lower grade, such as virgin olive oil. This is why the meticulous steps described in this journey, the quick harvest, the gentle transport, the clean mill, and the controlled temperatures, are so incredibly important. They're all designed to prevent the formation of these defects. So, when you purchase a bottle of true certified extra virgin olive oil, you're buying a product that has passed both a stringent scientific exam and a demanding human taste test. It's a guarantee of purity and quality. The peppery tickle you might feel at the back of your throat when you taste a fresh, high-quality oil isn't a flaw. It's actually a positive attribute. It's the signature of oleocanthal, a powerful anti-inflammatory polyphenol, and a delicious sign that the oil has made its premium journey from the olive to your table successfully.